reporting the president in his remarks that will come any moment now will describe these attempted package bomb attacks as, quote, terrorizing acts. Terrorizing acts. That would be language the president has not used in recent days. He has not described this as political terrorism. He seemed to be skeptical about the bombs in that tweet Caitlin Collin mentioned just earlier today, suggesting somehow it was designed to affect the conversations about the upcoming midterm elections. We'll hear from the president any moment there. I think we want to take a quick break here. We'll have more on the investigation when we come back. We're waiting on the president. No break. My apologies. I thought we were going to go to break there. I just want to, let's go put this back into context again. We can put up on the screen and show you how these attacks played out. George Soros, the major Democratic donor, he received a package. That was early in the week on Monday. Then Tuesday, a package addressed to the Clintons, Hillary Clinton specifically. They live outside of New York. The others on the list, the former Vice President Joe Biden, John Brennan, the former CIA director, James Clapper, the former director of national intelligence, Robert De Niro, the actor and director who lives in New York, has been a prominent critic of the President of the United States. Today, found in Florida in a postal sorting facility, a package directed at Democratic Senator Cory Booker, a prominent Trump critic, obviously someone who had a big role in the Brett Kavanaugh confirmation hearings. Maxine Waters, a Democratic congresswoman the president has repeatedly criticized. She is a frequent critic of him. Another one of the targets here, Eric Holder, the former attorney general. The return address listed as Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Democratic congresswoman, former chairwoman of the Democratic National Committee in Florida, and a 13th package now under suspicion at a Sacramento facility, a facility in California, addressed to Senator Kamala Harris. Obviously, it's not hidden here, the motivation, all of the targets, Democrats and or critics of the president. When you're leading an investigation like this, how much do the words of the president or the tweets of the president, especially if they're diverting from the facts, impact your work?
They won't impact the work, to be honest. It doesn't matter what the public is saying or what the media is reporting or anything at this point with regard to possible political motivation. They are just working the facts, working the forensics, taking every step of the way meticulously, and then determine it. Knowing the victims or the targets of the mailings doesn't tell you specifically the motivation. We can assume it. We could say, well, obviously it's a pro-right-wing, somebody that's attacking members of the left or progressives or Democrats. But we don't know that for sure. That's still yet to be seen. And the investigators will be trying hard not to form those kind of theories or opinions too early, which might lead them to ignore facts which show otherwise. So right now, it's all about just the facts and just the evidence.
Amen, and it should be. Let me ask you a question about the age we live in which facts often don't matter. You have conspiracy theories on
they matter to the FBI.
They
might not matter to everybody else, but they matter to the investigators.
Amen for that. And we watch, and let's applaud the work of the investigators who moved pretty quickly to get this suspect into custody. One of the conversations we've been having throughout the hour is this van. We were just showing the video of them putting the blue tarp over the top of the van. There are clearly Republican stickers on the van. You can see the elephant, the GOP logo there. That means there are Republican stickers on the van. Yeah, okay, exactly. There will be theories now about why it was covered up. Were people trying to hide that? You believe it's done to preserve a crime scene?
No, this is routinely done when a vehicle's taken into custody for examination at another facility. You know, it typically rains in Florida every afternoon. They don't want to be out in the rain trying to do this. They'll get it to a garage. They'll get it indoors in a secure facility, and they want it to arrive as pristine as possible, not have somebody throw rocks through the windows, which would contaminate the interior. That's why they're covered. They're always covered. It's not just this case. It's not because it might have pro-Republican window stickers or any of that.
Put Tom Fuentes in this room on the left. We're watching, obviously, FBI agents. You see them with their jackets on there. They're questioning somebody, a clerk at this AutoZone, which is an auto parts store, who's working the computer laptop there. We don't know whether this person worked at the store or did business in the store. We don't know the answers to that. But the van was outside of this store. So routine investigative work aimed at what?
Right. Well, what they want to know is if that person saw the van being parked, did more than one person get out of it? Is there somebody else that maybe was with the suspect that walked away from the whole scene and wasn't taken into custody? Those kind of questions. That would be typical to do interviews of everybody that possibly saw that van at that vicinity to make sure that this guy was alone when he parked it. They would have had him under surveillance already before he got there. And again, they don't want to make that arrest in the house because that's a crime scene.
And if there were purchases made, what?
Well, that obviously too. Right. What did he do inside if they waited till he came back out?
Right. Right. Okay. And so you mentioned the politics don't matter. You're trying to find the person. So when you see, and we have a map of where this played out, most of the packages are delivered in New York, not all of them. One in Delaware, one now they're looking at in Sacramento. Just piece together how you go through this in the early days of an investigation when you're watching this unfold. First one's George Soros. Whether that's George Soros or John Doe, a suspected bomb was mailed to somebody. So that's a big deal, whether it's a prominent citizen or a normal human being. And then it kicks in that you have more of them. What happens?
Well, let me say, when I say the politics doesn't matter to the investigators, it doesn't matter in the sense that, oh, we don't care who was a victim. It matters in that you're looking for commonality in any criminal case. Who are the victims? What do they have in common? That's a lead. It's not the definitive. That's the motive, because they were Democrats or because they were progressives or from that side. So, you know, it's something to take into consideration. It's not the main topic at this point. What they'll do is have the evidence and the forensics lead them on. In this case, we would have had surveillance video at these postal facilities. We would have had the forensic evidence from inside the packages themselves as they're being examined. And again, if he's known to the police, as they say, how well known? Was his DNA or fingerprints already on file, and maybe they've gotten a match from one of the packages to him specifically, and that led to this? Did somebody tip the police or the FBI off? Hey, my buddy or my classmate or my neighbor's been talking about doing an attack on Democrats or whoever, or just wants his attention and 15 minutes of fame. He doesn't actually want to kill anybody, but he wants to get attention, which he's going to have plenty of. So we don't know how they got onto him at this point. Was it a tip? Was it the forensics? Was it surveillance cameras, social media, friends, relatives? We don't know. We will know, you know, at some point here.
And Candace, if you're still with me, as you move from Monday, where you have a package addressed to George Soros, to Wednesday, when you have several more Democratic politicians and critics of the president, if you're in conversations of who are we looking for, what type of person are we looking for, as you get that additional information and you go from 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 known Democrats, known critics of the president, how does that affect from a profiling standpoint? Okay, let's narrow